wanted to be a presenter, so I looked for a school of journalism. I joined East African School of Journalism. I had paid my whole fee even before I got in, and I used to hustle in between school and all these things. So that's how I started journalism. I started journalism in 2004 for 1 year, and then we were sent for internship. So when we were sent for internship, I tried looking for internship. My God, I went to KBC, I went to KTN. I tried looking for internship everywhere. I couldn't find internship. So I decided, okay, I think what I'm going to do so I can get very good experience, let me talk to Kenyan News Agency and ask them whether they can send me to the remote areas. Now my mom was born in Narok. I was also born in Narok. My mom was Maasai, my late mom, and so like I know we have a lot of relatives in Narok. So I asked them to post me to Narok, Kenyan News Agency Narok. Of course, interns don't go asking to be posted in the rural area, so I was given the internship. And you know, Kenyan News Agency is a government agency. So when I went to Narok, oh my God, I found they were using a typewriter. And remember, I've done 1 year of school. I've not done any practicals this time round. So I'm going to try and look for some practicals because I really need to make it in life. And you know me, even when I was hawking, what I can tell you is, even when I was hawking on the streets, I was still this person who, I don't know what I can tell you, but who speaks English and they're a hawker, who dresses so well. Yeah, I used to have a very high regard for myself. Like my family has always known that about me. You can't come up, you can't violate my rights. It doesn't matter. Like I'll always value myself. And so when I went for this internship, I was very outspoken. And because of this internship, my boss was a drunkard. He was a drunkard. He was never in the office. I found a typewriter. I didn't even know how to use a typewriter. Here I am, I'm supposed to type all the news, but because I'm attached to government and I'm coming from the information office, I'm introduced to all the senior people in Narok County. So I was taken to the county council. I was allowed access into the court files to see the most trending stories in court. I was allowed access to the DC and all that. So there came an opportunity. And me being an opportunist, like I discovered that Kenyan News Agency, when I send them news, they don't have a channel. They send this news to KBC. So one day I decided to give KBC a call. So I called KBC and I told them, okay, yeah, I'm a freelance journalist. I'm working with Kenyan News Agency, and I would like to be sending you some news on SMS so you can read them on radio because it will be faster instead of you having to wait for Kenyan News Agency. As I send to them, I can also send to you because I don't know how to type with this typewriter and it's not even working. And I'm on internship. And the managing editor at that time at KBC Newsroom, his name was Kennedy Osir. He told me, well and good, welcome to KBC. And he actually asked me to be sending news. So I started sending news on SMS. So sending a lot of news, and when I send, I hear them in the evening. So the DC is happy. You know, these guys, they want, if they go for an occasion, they want it to be. So how did I used to survive? I used to survive from handouts, from the DC, from the chairperson of the county council. They give you like envelopes to say thank you for putting Narok in the limelight. Then one day there was a very big accident. It happened like 10 kilometers away from the town. I was told there's an accident, people have died. I didn't have a camera. I thought quickly. I went and rented a camera for 500 shillings, put a tape, a mini DV camera, went now and filmed it. So that marked my journey to become a KBC correspondent for news as well. So I was appearing on TV and I was appearing on radio. So by the time I was finishing my internship, KBC were really clear, they're not leaving me to go. So because I was not even on an internship with them, but I was their correspondent already. I was a freelancer. From that time when I learned, I can rent a camera because KBC we made a deal with them. They used to pay me 2,000 per story that I filmed. So can you imagine, believe it or not, I used to film 40 stories in a month, which get aired. So when I could come with my invoice, I could be paid 80,000 shillings at KBC. And so these guys noticed I'm very good in doing feature stories. Of course, in Narok, you realize they have a very rich culture. They have a lot of people. So I think that really helped me a lot to establish myself, because now I could even be invited to Nairobi, and then I could come to Nairobi and actually do some stories. I was sent to Marti, to Gabatura, to other places to cover stories for KBC. And you know, my journey for KBC in Narok ended, and it ended after a very funny thing happened. So it was around 2005. You remember there was the yes and no campaign there was a constitutional changes, amendments, you know, that was suggested, and also there was this other thing that was happening. Yeah, there was more forest evictions. Yeah, so being a journalist in Narok, you know, it was my responsibility to cover the story. I heard from sources that the police were actually brutalizing women, they were raping women, they were beating up men, they were using forceful means to evict people from the Mau Forest. That's the day I decided, this is the day I'm going to become a Jeff Koinange. I must cover this story, I must catch these guys, and I must show their story on air. So that day, what I did is, I hooked up with my friend. His name is Langat. I think you should interview Langat, by the way. He lives in Bome, and he can clarify this story. So Langat and myself, we were taken by that time, the councillors, the ward representatives now, they were called councillors. So they took us to Mau Forest. They took us they gave us even a lift, and then they took us. We walked 20 kilometers inside the forest. At around 3 a.m. in the morning, these guys started saying, hey, we need to disappear. You guys, you know, now you're on your own to cover this, because these police are using force. These guys did not want to be found in the forest, but they were inciting us to go into the forest to cover the story. So we climbed on top of a tree so that we can be able to cover that story. So we climbed like a tree, a big tree. We climbed to the top with our mini DV cameras, you know. Yeah. And then also we were just like ready for them. They came at around 6. We climbed at 5. They came at around 6 a.m. Guess what they did? They came and put their bags at our tree. Oh. And our tree. I'm telling you, I saw death. Like I thought that I'm not going to make it. I kept thinking I'm not going to make it. Somebody will look up. Somebody will see us. And if they see us, they're going to shoot us dead. And guess what? You know, I don't know how. You know, like for me, if somebody is there's somebody up a tree, my senses would just catch like there's something, there's someone, or there's something. But these guys never looked up. They put someone there. He was sitting. He was drinking water. They were laughing. They were arrogant. So we filmed police burning houses. We filmed police brutalizing women. We filmed police touching women inappropriately, police beating men. We filmed it from 6 a.m. to midday. We filmed everything, and we were not caught. You get that? Yeah. We're not caught. So these guys left. So you know now, like if they come to this estate, they finish demolishing, burning, and everything. So they moved. So they picked their bags and they moved. As we just came down slowly, we waited for them to move. At around 3. We started walking. At around 4 we were in the town. So the councillor came for us. We called the councillor, he came for us. He picked the things. He picked us, and we took the tapes to Nyamakema, to the stage, and sent them to Nyamakema. Then the KBC people came and picked it. So at 9 p.m. we were waiting to be famous. Little did we know, after wasting all that time filming all those things, the media house just showed. It was Citizen and KBC. My friend was working. Langat was a freelancer for Citizen, and I was a freelancer for KBC. So what happened is, Langat gave the tape. I gave the tape. Both stations just showed police were burning houses and they were using excessive force. They never showed them they were raping women. They cut out all that. So after that, I called my editor and asked my editor, what's going on? Why is it that the story is not being shown? We risked a lot to take these stories. Why is it that you're not showing the story? They said we got a call from State House, and people already know that you guys filmed this story and it can be very dangerous for you. So just leave it alone. So I came to realize, kumbe media houses are not independent, because for them to show any content, they have to show what is approved. Even the government is the one which gives them licenses. So the government can call a media station and tell them, we'll withdraw your license if you show this story. So I started being demotivated about being a journalist, because like you risk your life that much and you don't even get exposure. The story is diluted, and what people get to see is not what you risked. You almost died for that story. So that was really annoying. And the next day, guess what happened? I got a call on my Mulika Mwizi. I got a call. Then I'm asking, yeah, hi, Rachael speaking. Who am I talking to? Guess who was talking to me on the other side of the phone? Nicholas Biwott. How does Nicholas Biwott know a stupid intern living in Narok? How does he even know my phone number? And I was really surprised, and that was really, like, it worried me. It sunk my heart. You know, like somebody used to tell me journalism is very dangerous. But you know the stories we had about Nicholas Biwott by that. He called me and he said, "Now, hi, how are you? I'm going to be very short. I want to meet you tomorrow at Fairview Hotel." Do I even know where is Fairview Hotel? Do I even have fare or something like that? I didn't have. So he said, "I'm going to send a driver to pick you. I know where you live. A driver will pick you and bring you to me in Fairview Hotel. I want to meet you tomorrow. I know you're the one who filmed the Mau Forest story." So the next day, long story short, a taxi came and picked me, which I didn't pay for, took me to Fairview Hotel, and I enter Fairview. There's in Kikuyu we call it Pingira. It's like a hut, a small hut. So when you enter Fairview Hotel, it's just next to the Israeli embassy. So when you just enter, you see it. So there were all the influential, especially from the Kalenjin committee, leaders, including the second right now. They were all there. And I was passing. And I went, I was told, hello, Salimia Mzee. So I was greeting. Then I was greeted with a brown envelope. A heavy brown envelope, let me just say. That is what it means, Salimia Mzee. Yeah? So, I found Langat there. I never, like when these guys called me, I never called Langat because I never wanted to set him up. I never called him, but I found him there. Believe it or not, we were together there, me and him. So we were told, we greeted, we were given our envelopes, we left. You get? So we were told, he told us, the guy who had called us there, told us, Rachael and Langat, the only thing I want from you, I want the tapes that you filmed. He said, but they're with the editors, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, figure out how to pick them. Bring them to me at 2 p.m. in Parliament tomorrow. Hey, that was scary. So we had to move. Personally, I just quickly ran to KBC, to my editors. I told my editor, now how am I going to do this? I found a way to go to the library. You know, the tapes used to be archived. I found a way to get to the library, make copies of these tapes, and Langat did the same. He took all the raw tapes to that person in Parliament the next day at 2 p.m. When he took the tapes to that person, he took the tape and he told us, I'm going to use this to sue the government for excessively using force to evict people from the Mau Forest. But like digging further about that story, I came to realize some of these people are the ones who had sold that land in Mau, and they were losing political mileage by people being evicted. So everybody's taking advantage of the situation of ordinary Mwananchi, and I was so pissed off. So this is 2005.
Okay. Can't remember where it was.
Yeah, so this is 2005. Yeah. So I came back, I decided to relocate. Actually in Narok I did a lot of work. So I even started selling the adverts on behalf of KBC. I opened the first KBC a correspondence office in Narok. And then now I told KBC, I feel like this is time for me to move back to Nairobi and look for greener pastures. And they told us, come to the newsroom. That during that time I went for training. I was shadowing Kathy Ndonye in the Sundowner show. It was very famous in KBC. It was the most famous show on KBC English channel, and I was also making news in the feature desk. So I was being sent all around the country. So I became a reporter and an artist for KBC for that 1 year. So while I was still a journalist, I used to meet many people. And one of the persons I met, he was my friend, Rolf Smith, the late Rolf Smith. He used to own the Horseman in Karen, and he's a German. And then now he also had the Rolf, currently it's called Rolf's Place. It's on your way to Masai Lodge. And so he had those two places, and most famous was Horseman. So this guy used to be one of the best film caterers in Kenya. Actually, he used to be hands down the best. Whenever Hollywood film crews would come to Kenya to shoot anything, he would be the one who would be given the contract to cook for them.